Assalamu alaikum students, it's lecture number 33. The videos for grade 4. The topic for today is Unit 3 lesson 2 Planet Earth. In previous class we did work on our learner's book. In today's class we're going to work on the activity book. Okay, so this is activity book. This is lesson 2 of your lesson 2 in your activity book, which is Planet Earth. So there are different exercises given over here that you have to solve. It's all related to the things given on unit 2 of lesson 2 of in the learner's book. So let's have a look what's written over here. So what you have to do, you have to circle the adjectives that describe these landscapes. Fine. So just see for every landscape it's there are 3 adjectives given. So the first one is this: dry, big, wet. So it's a desert. What a desert is. Then comes the rainforest, wide, humid, beautiful. Then warm, cold, high. Then this river, cool, hot, long. So just circle the appropriate adjective for each of these landscape. Then comes the second thing. It's a language detective, comparatives, short and long adjectives. The Namib desert is older than the Sahara. So you see, in comparative we use then and then er with the adjective older. The river Nile is longer than the Amazon river. It is more dangerous than you think. Adjectives ending. Okay, so adjectives ending in E add R. If an adjective ends in E, then what we do, we put R, as I told you in the lecture of comparatives and superlatives in detail. So just remember those rules and then just solve these exercises. Okay, so the Amazon is wider than the Nile. So wide, WIDE is wide, and then to form comparative we just add R if the adjective ends with E. Fine. So if an adjective ends in E, remember you have to put R, just R. The Amazon is wider than the Nile. Then if adjectives ending in Y, change to IER. The Sahara desert is drier than the Namib desert. Dry, drier. DRY, it's ending in Y, so that's why we cut Y and then add IER. Double letters. The Sahara desert is hotter than the Namib desert. Okay, so this way you have to form comparatives. Then comes use of English. Complete these sentences with comparatives. The Amazon river is shorter than the river Nile. This adjective short is given in the bracket, and then it's written is shorter than. So we add ER to make comparatives, and then we add then after the adjective. So this is how we write a comparative. The Namib desert dash the Sahara desert. Now change this adjective cool into comparative and then add then. Cool into comparative and then add then. The Kalahari desert dash the North Pole hot. The Great Barrier Reef dash the savannah beautiful. The Sahara desert dash the tropical desert dry. Fine. So you just have to change these adjectives given in the bracket into comparative forms. Then the next one is write sentences in your notebooks comparing these landscapes. Some landscapes are given over here. 2 landscapes are given over here. So it means that we have to use comparatives to compare them, because it's a comparison between 2 things, 2 places. So when there's a comparison between 2, then we use comparatives, and if it's more than 2, then superlatives. Okay, so you have to compare a tropical rainforest, like first one has been done for you, Sahara and the Arctic. The Arctic is colder than the Sahara Desert. Then compare tropical rainforest with the savanna. Then compare the Arctic to the tropical rainforest, the Namib Desert to the savanna to the Arctic. So this way you can take help from the sentence written in the first one. The Arctic is colder than the Sahara Desert. So this way you have to compare all these places. I mean these landscapes. Moving forward to the next page, it's quite interesting. Read about Mount Everest, then copy and complete the fact file. Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. It is about 8,850 meters high, and it sits on the border between Nepal and Tibet, which is in China. The first man to reach the summit means the highest point of the mountain. The first man to reach the summit were men to reach the summit were Edmund Hillary and Denzing Norgay. On 29th May 1952, Mount Everest is very difficult to climb and conditions are dangerous. In the winter, the temperature at the summit can be between minus 36 degrees Celsius, oh, it's freezing, and minus 60 degrees Celsius. Scientists say that Mount Everest grows a few centimeters every year. Incredible but true. So that's a very curious fact. Fine. So now you have to complete this fact file. What's the name of this landscape? Write the name. What is the location? It's written over here, border between Nepal and then what's the temperature and what's the curious fact about this landscape? Okay, so you have to complete this fact file taking help from this paragraph. Then the next exercise, it's quite more interesting. It's written, it's a challenge for you. Use the information in this fact file to write a paragraph about Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is basically a mountain in Africa. So here's the fact file of Kilimanjaro. It's written, name is Kilimanjaro. Location is on the Tanzanian border with Kenya in Africa. Height is 5,895 meters high. Temperature is nighttime 0 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. Curious fact is Kilimanjaro means shining mountain in Swahili. Okay, so taking help from this paragraph, like they have written about a mountain, Mount Everest. So just see how they have written is the highest mountain in the world. So just write about Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. Fine. So the first one was the highest mountain in Mount Everest. It is the highest mountain in Africa. Just this way, just the way they have written, you have to write the fact, taking help from the fact file, you have to write a paragraph on this mountain Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is basically a volcano. So this mountain erupted and it's basically a volcano and it's the highest mountain in Africa. Fine. So you can after that you can talk about the location like they have written over here. No, the location like they have written over here. No, talk about the height. It's about 8,850 meters high. What's the height of this? It's about 5,895 meters high. Then they have written and it sits on the border between Nepal and Tibet. It sits on the Tanzanian border with Kenya. So take help from this structure, the structure of this paragraph, and then just write a paragraph on this mountain Kilimanjaro. So fact file is written over here. Take help from these facts and write a paragraph. I've told you how to start the paragraph. Now just write a complete paragraph on this this mountain, this landscape. So yeah, that's quite easy. Everything is written in the fact file. You just have to create sentences. You just have to make sentences of these facts and then just write a paragraph like they have done over here. Fine. So it's not difficult. I told you that it's a highest mountain. I've given you an additional information that it's a highest mountain in Africa and it's basically a volcano. And the curious fact about this is it means shining mountain. Fine. So this is how you have to write a paragraph. So yeah, that's all for today. It was all about the activity book.